Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, welcome to a Victory Wednesday here at Woodward Sports. My name is Stick, filling in for the one, the only Adam Baydoun, who I'm sure is at home right now, smoking a hookah, celebrating, got his sunglasses on, feet on the table, going, ha ha, I told you, bitches! But
that's verbatim what he's doing.
That's verbatim. Like, that's why he took this off. Like, he knew all of this was going to happen, but no, Adam's still sick. Hopefully he gets better. My name is Stick. That is Jeff Iafrate. Fish is here. Alex Westfall on the way. And Matt Broder joining us this morning, one of our new contributors to WoodwardSports.com. Uh-oh, Fish says my mic's not working. Fish, turn my mic on.
Is that better? There we go.
There it is.
Good. All right, let's do this again.
Redo it.
One more time. Restart the whole damn show. No, but my name is Stick, filling in for Adam today. It's a celebratory Wednesday, a victory Wednesday for everybody that resides in Lions fandom. Jeff Iafrate is here. Fish is here. That's why the mic was not working that well. Oh, yep. Thank you for the middle finger, Fish. But nothing you can do to me is going to bring me down today, Fish. You can flip me off all day. You can talk all you want. But you know what happened yesterday?
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
Because what if he gets a better offer?
No.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over. There is no other offers.
Okay.
That's how this works.
Okay. Well,
I know, but I'm just worried, like, you know, because he said he's staying, but, like, you don't think if he gets another call, he's going to, like, flip-flop?
No, I don't. Not this year, at least.
Okay.
All right. I said you weren't going to steal my thunder, and you already are. What are you doing?
I just want him to... I don't want it to be July, and he leaves.
no, Fish. Do you think Ben Johnson is a man of his word? Do you believe that?
I would hope so.
Do you think Ben Johnson would inform the Lions he's returning and then take an offer? Because if he's saying this, teams are no longer interested. He's already made it clear he's coming back. So why would he get an offer even though... he went back to the Lions?
Tom Pelissero would not lie to us.
No, he would not.
Tom Pelissero put it out on Twitter, and then, of course, the world exploded. On the morning show, Jeff, you guys have a tradition on a Victory Monday. You guys smoke hookah, right?
Yes.
Where's your hookah?
Well, for the Lions post-game shows, whenever big things happen, we pop champagne.
Oh,
so I got a little mini bottle of champagne.
Good.
Because this is a victory, but it's not, a win.
Yep.
And we said we were going to put away the champagne on the shows for normal wins now. Like, if the Lions beat the lowly Bears next year, I'm not popping champagne. Because I expect that now. This is saved for big wins and big things only. Let's see if I can open this damn thing. There we go. Yeah, some champagne for everybody. So, cheers, Ben Johnson. A little bit of Lions post-game tradition coming in on the morning show.
Yeah, and this is the right occasion. It's a
I'm
marginal.
He didn't spray it all over. Oh boy.
We
got some drippage.
Yep.
This isn't a playoff win, but it's a huge win, especially for this offense that we all know was one of the best offenses in the NFL. And you get Ben Johnson back. You're getting a lot of other guys back. It came out, it was reported that multiple other Lions players have vocalized they want to return. Like, all of this together. I mean, if you read Tom Pelissero's tweet, he says OC Ben Johnson has informed interested teams he's staying in Detroit. And the second part of this tweet is the most important. He said, but he feels Detroit is building something special and wants to see it through. Should be a hot head coach name again next season. And we had this conversation yesterday about how some coordinators, it doesn't always work out for them. I think Ben Johnson in this situation, this offense, they're pretty much retaining everybody. Maybe Chark goes, but even if you don't bring him back, they're still going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. He'll be a candidate next year. I do believe that.
It's just nice to be wanted.
I know.
It's nice to be wanted.
Imagine this scenario happening in past years. Like, me and Matt were talking about this. Like, as another assistant coach looking at the Lions and saying, you know what? I don't want to get a promotion. I want to be an assistant coach for the Detroit Lions. Doesn't that tell you that things are moving in the right direction?
It's pretty clear things are moving in the right direction. Not only that is an indicator of it, but the fact that coaches are getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. I mean, when's the last Lions head coach that went on to be a head coach anywhere? When's the last Lions OC that went on to be a head coach anywhere? Off the top of my head, I cannot name one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, look back at all the coaches. We can go back. Schwartz never became a head coach again. Caldwell never became a head coach again. Who under them rose up in the ranks? None of them.
Yeah.
So the fact that the Lions even have that guy in their arsenal is special, and the fact that he wants to stay here, it's really indicative of what they're building in Allen Park and Ford Field.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because we talk about this all the time. These guys are professionals, right? They're there to make money. Carolina, you listed all the reasons why he could go to Carolina. He grew up there. It's romantic, he could choose the quarterback of the future. But he's looking at it and he's like, man, I don't want to leave this yet. We got unfinished business here. And the fact that he announced it this early in the process, too, it's not entertaining other thoughts. It's not going back and forth with other teams. It's not putting pressure on the Lions. I just feel like this was I went out there, I saw what it was like, but Dan Campbell and him were probably in communication the whole time, and he was just like, there's nothing better than here.
Yeah, it's like if you have a beautiful girlfriend, other teams, other guys are going to try and get at her. With Ben Johnson, that was a clear case of that. He's going to get interviews. I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it speaks volumes for him to say that, to say, I want to see this through. I want to go back and be an OC with this organization, what we've built over last season. I saw the numbers, too. The year prior to Ben Johnson, the offense, and they had dealt with a ton of injuries. It was Jared Goff's first year. They were in the 20s and offensively in rankings all across the board. One season as Ben Johnson as the OC, they're top 5 in multiple categories. This guy's the real deal. And the fact that the Lions are able to retain him and he's coming back. The Lions didn't make him come back. This is all Ben Johnson. He sees a clear promotion. Anybody's dealt with this in life where you have a job and there's an opportunity on the horizon and it's an upgrade, right? It's a promotion to you. And you might even make more money. Like Ben Johnson was going to get not even just a upgrade in his title, but a pay grade upgrade. He's going to make a ton of money, guaranteed. And the fact that he turned all that down to return back to the Detroit Lions, I assume he'll get a pay raise. But dang, I mean, that really speaks to what the Lions are building and how kind of the narrative around the organization is turning as we watch.
One name that keeps getting mentioned in the WoodwardSports.com chat that we haven't brought up yet, Sheila Hamp.
Yeah, she deserves a ton of credit.
Since she's come out to speak to the media, which normally they never come down out of their ivory tower to come talk to the lowly media, if you're like the president of the team and stuff like that, the previous Fords never did it. I think that's part of the reason she dropped the Ford, is she just wants to prove that she's a little bit different. When she came out and they were 1-6 and said, I still believe in the process, I still believe in Dan Campbell, I still believe what we're seeing here, there are a lot of people were kind of clowning her. Like, why is she coming out talking? This is when it's in disarray. She's already making excuses for where they're at. But since she came out and did that, they have completely turned it around.
Yep.
And now, on top of that, you have assistant coaches that are like, yeah, you know what? I like Sheila. I like Brad. I like Dan. I like Mark Brunell. I like Jared Goff. I like our offensive line. I like our running backs. I like that I'm going to get Jamison Williams next year. There's just so much for an offensive coordinator to just salivate over to be a Detroit Lions offensive coordinator right now. Like, Lions are sexy.
Yeah.
The Lions are sexy.
Say it again,
sex. The Lions are sexy.
And it's different, too, when anybody's ever employed somewhere and you love the people you work with and you love your job. Like Ben Johnson obviously adores everybody, and I'm glad you brought up Sheila, because Sheila Ford, now Sheila Hamp, as she likes to be called, she's done a fantastic job. And number one, you saw Dan Campbell after that Packers game. If you guys have watched the Mic'd Up on Detroit Lions YouTube, him talk about, hey, I've been a player in this league. I've been a coach in this league. There's not a lot of good owners. Like, you're lucky to have great ownership, and Sheila right now is kind of turning that mold with all the guys that want to be here. It's an environment that guys want to be in, they're going to thrive in, and they're going to play some of their best football. And now with Ben Johnson, the scientist behind this offense, it gives me even more confidence that the Lions, they're going to be right back in that picture next year. They went 9-8 with all these young players next season. That NFC North, their eyes are set on it, no doubt about it.
Well, and you want to see the evolution of the offense.
Absolutely.
He only really had a half season, right? A full season this year and a little bit last year. this is just starting to evolve. You're just scratching the surface on what Ben Johnson can do. And now when you're completely handing him the reins, it's one thing to fire an offensive coordinator and bring in the next guy. You know, it feels different than saying, hey, we want you back. Don't go to another team. Here's the bag. Here's your squad. Right. Like it feels different, and I bet you he feels more ownership over the team today than he did even at the end of the season.
Yeah, and with Ben too, the big thing to take away is, and we've had this discussion yesterday, we've been talking about just the idea of him leaving and preparing for whoever would come next, whether it be outside the organization or somebody you groom. My pick was always Tanner Engstrand, and you never know, he'll be here for another year. Maybe those guys are now know it's clear that, hey, Ben Johnson, we're on a limited timeline with this guy. It's not about if he's leaving, it's really when he's leaving. Now you have an opportunity in a clearer kind of future of we got to groom the next guy, because there's going to be a time next season probably where Ben Johnson takes that head coaching job and he's gone. But now you're going to be much more prepared. You got a year to prepare for it. So, I mean, I think this is just better for everybody now that he's back. It'll be much easier. Instead of finding somebody on the fly, you kind of have a year and you know he's going to eventually leave. You can prepare for his departure.
You know, the romantic in me wants to say that this guy's never going to leave.
I hope not, man.
You know,
I hope not.
maybe this is one of those rare situations where you got your Andy Reid and your Bieniemy that want to stay together, click it up, and say, hey, together we're a great team. Let's make this work together. And maybe they start giving him more autonomy over other things too. You know, because at one point Dan Campbell was the assistant head coach of the Saints, and you know he ended up being the head coach of Miami.
Right.
Maybe to get him from leaving 2 years down the road, or even after next year, like, hey, not only are you the OC, now we're going to make you the assistant head coach too. And the Lions will never have that head coaching position to dangle in front of him unless Dan Campbell falls on his face, which we all hope doesn't happen.
Right.
But I think there is levels to upgrade him still over OC.
Yeah, a ton of experience. I mean, he's a first-year OC. He's been an offensive coordinator for one season. Before then, he's coached pretty much every position on offense, but he needs the experience. Now, although I don't think he would need it if he were to take a head coaching job, but now that he's back, he can take in that experience. Another year as an OC, maybe he gets a promotion. You never know. I like Deuce as the assistant head coach, but at this point, Ben Johnson's probably the closest to becoming a head coach, so assistant coach, to your point, would make a ton of sense. But all that experience, you're getting groomed under a guy like Dan Campbell, who always makes it just I know it's a short sample size, but he's a hell of a people reader. Like he can identify whether guys aren't working or guys that can work. I mean, and this is why I always had confidence if Ben Johnson leaves, because Dan Campbell, to me, he reads people correctly. Like, yeah. He's made every
he's a
right
leader
decision.
Of men.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Firing Anthony Lynn, firing Aubrey Pleasant, promoting guys when they need to be promoted.
And Anthony Lynn was his boy. Anthony Lynn
was.
Almost came out of retirement, essentially, to help Dan Campbell. And he was like, you know what?
Took him
appreciate the effort, homie, but out the door you go.
And that's part of the job, making tough decisions, and Dan has proven himself with that. So happy Ben Johnson's back. I'm ecstatic. And now the offense.
We got our Johnson back.
Let's run it back.
The Lions have a Johnson.
Let's run it back, baby.
Oof. Lions without a Johnson is a scary thing. When Kelvin left, it sucked. If Ben would have left, we couldn't lose two great Johnsons.
No, you can't.
If you lose two great Johnsons in your life.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I know some ladies that would attest to that. Let me talk to you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. That is where I actually got my haircut yesterday. If you notice, if you want to go watch yesterday's show and then watch today's show, you will see my hair is much better, and that's because the lovely Bethany cut my hair yesterday, and I got the scalp massage going on, the shoulder rub. Yeah, that's right, Westfall. Bethany cut my hair yesterday. So stop on by the Birmingham location. You can have Bethany cut your hair here or any location that is around by your house, because they have so many locations over Metro Detroit and Michigan and the country. Lady Jane's, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Matrix Home Solutions are your professional and organized contractors. If you got a new basement coming, a new bathroom, maybe you want some new cabinets in that kitchen, there is one place to call. That is Matrix Home Solutions, 888-594-8844. I'm actually going out there today because we're going to be doing a live broadcast coming up on February 3rd from out there, and we'll be giving away potentially a $50,000 new basement. We're going to be getting it away. Yeah, all you got to do is be able to make, I believe it's like a 50-foot putt. Don't quote me on that, but we're going to try that out coming up soon at Matrix. Their grand opening is coming in Plymouth. MatrixHomeSolutions.com. All right, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show right here on WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam. No hookah, but we got champagne this morning, celebrating Ben Johnson returning to the Lions. Everybody seems pretty excited about it. I mean, Twitter exploded yesterday. Our text thread kind of went nuts, people going back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought he was going to leave. Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a foregone conclusion that, hey, and I think that's a little bit of Lionism in all of us, like, why would he stay here? Yeah. Like, he could go be a head coach, but I think that it pulls back the curtain on what's really going on.
Yeah, it's too good. It was too good to be true. I mean, let's be honest here. When I talked about it the last couple days, I pretty much convinced myself that he was gone, and for a couple reasons. It had nothing to do with the Lions. It was more so with Ben in his career. I figured, hey, Ben Johnson, he's ready, in my opinion, to take that step, whether he feels like he is or not. He's super talented, and guys are going to want to play for him. He's a great person, great communicator. Everybody that talks about Ben Johnson speaks highly of him. I mean, if you're following him on Ross St. Brown, I know you saw his Instagram. He put on his story, if you know, you know, and
just
put the sad
crying face.
So
he was
happy.
Just so happy he was crying.
And the fact that the players, you know, they love him. And this is why me and Adam advocated for him to be the OC when he was the passing game coordinator, because you kept hearing these quotes by players coming out. Ben Johnson, I credit him for my success. Jared Goff, he's been instrumental in my success. Like, there's all these compliments coming out about Ben, and on top of that, besides Sean Payton, you could make a legitimate argument he was the hottest candidate available. Besides maybe D'Amico, maybe him and D'Amico together, because Ben interviewed, the first couple days of actually allowing interviews, he already cleared like 4 teams. He had 4 teams scheduled already.
He had 4 interviews on the docket, and I think that is more than anybody else is interviewing for. And sometimes, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? You know, that we won't know. But, I mean, the good news is he was getting interest from so many teams, but he wasn't showing interest to one team. And that's what I mean about that maybe being a good thing, that he had so many interviews, because it was more like he just wanted to get through the interview process and figure out what it was like, instead of him honing in on one team like, oh, this is the job I really want. So when he was doing multiple interviews, that kind of gave me a little bit more hope that he was going to stay. You know, because, like I said, he wasn't focused in. If he only interviewed with Carolina and turned down Denver, I'd be like, oof, this guy's honing in on one job.
Yeah, and maybe there's also the flip side of it. As talented as he is, maybe teams were telling him, hey, we love you, but you just don't have enough experience. And maybe that's part of it, too. I don't know the details. Hopefully those things will come out. But for Ben, we know he's capable. I mean, that's what we take away. Now, being an OC for 1 year, I mean, you might need a little more experience, at least for teams to look at you. But at the end of the day, this is the NFL. Like, they're going to look at the next hot commodity and take a chance on him. We've seen that multiple times. Even a guy like Matt Rule, who's coached at the collegiate level, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a goner. But the fact of the matter is, the Lions, the organization, that narrative of the Detroit Lions is slowly changing. And the fact that Ben Johnson's coming back, man, we've known things are different, but this just kind of stamps it on top. The fact that Ben, one of the hottest head coaching candidates, says, hey, I like what these guys are building over in Detroit.
Oh, and what does that do for free agency, too? what does that show you to people that want to come here, or are we even thinking about coming here? Like, oh man, I wanted to play in that Ben Johnson offense, or I really liked what they were doing in Detroit. I wonder what it's going to be like next year. Now it takes the wonderment away.
Right.
You know what this team is. You know what they're going to deliver to you next year. If you're an offensive player, Detroit is now a desirable destination for any wide receiver, for any running back, for any lineman. Quarterback, sure, but we don't need one.
Right. Right, and that's the point I made yesterday. Now, I don't want C.J. Stroud, but you got to understand, look at the situation the Lions have right now. And me and Adam talk about that a lot. No matter who comes in, let's say Brad wants to draft a quarterback, ideally. Not saying I want him to, but let's say he does. You have Ben Johnson, one of the best offensive lines, a plethora of weapons. Like, man, Jared Goff, and I'm cool with Jared. This is a guy you can win playoff games with, but I can't fault him. I mean, the situation is a great situation for any quarterback, not just a rookie. Jared Goff as well. So, again, with Ben Johnson, he's the cherry on top. Now you have your play caller. Now you can have consistency within your offense. You don't want to go out and find a replacement. It keeps that, instead of going out and getting a guy from outside the organization, you bring back familiarity, and that's Ben Johnson, this offense that we've seen be explosive all season. So, again, both assistants can't be any more happy. I know AG's turned the corner as well. I wouldn't want anybody else right now than AG and Ben Johnson going into next year. I really would.
A couple comments in the WoodwardSports.com chat. Ben Johnson deserves a statue.
He might.
Yeah, it's not off the table. It's not like, listen, we can have that conversation. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a statue yet. So that's in the conversation.
He'll have his right next to Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. We'll get them all statues. Why not?
Don Burr in the WoodwardSports.com chat. Ben Johnson has a ton of pressure on him coming in this year. So that's a good question. More or less pressure than if he would have taken a head coaching job?
I mean, I think there's definitely pressure. I mean, you are an OC for one season. You have a top 3-4 offense. Like, that's pressure. But that might be pressure he wants.
Repeating what you already have done, I think, is a little less pressure than going in and taking over an entire organization. So, yes, he has pressure on him. Actually, I don't want to call it pressure. He has expectations now.
There you go. A better way to say it.
He has expectations, and he's got to meet those expectations. Because I don't want to be sitting here in a year when the Lions' offense is ranked 21st, and we're like, oh, God, we should have gotten rid of Ben Johnson. He's not the guy. I told you so. See, he would have been better off taking it. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't expect them to be a top 3 offense like they were this year, top 5.
Right.
But if they're top 7, he's done his job.
Yeah. You just want this offense. It doesn't have to be a top 2-3 offense, but it's got to be one of the better offenses. We know what they have on paper. They have enough talent on paper to be one of the better offenses. But to answer your question too, there'd be more pressure obviously with becoming a head coach. They're expecting you to turn the team around. He's been an OC for 1 year. Now you're taking the jump. Now you're like the CEO of a football team. That's a ton of pressure.
Within a year and a half.
That's a lot.
Think about that. You were the tight ends coach. Then all of a sudden you interim offensive coordinator, then offensive coordinator for a year, then head coach. In a year and a half, you became a head coach. And sometimes people aren't ready for that. And I don't know Ben Johnson. I don't know how self-aware Ben Johnson is, but maybe he understands that he needs to put more tools in his tool belt before he goes out there and runs the whole show.
Yeah, and very well. And also you look at it like, hey, I want a promotion, but at the same time, you don't want to leave a good situation.
Yeah.
He has a great situation with Detroit, with obviously Dan Campbell, the relationship they have, the organization from top to bottom, but also the players he has to work with. He's established a relationship with all these players, and you can win with these guys. So for Ben's sake, it's really not to me, it's a win-win in a way, because you return back to an offense you know that you can be one of the best offenses in the league, and you know him being a head coaching candidate, that ain't going nowhere unless they completely crap the bed, which I don't see happening. And so you get another year as an OC, you get another year to kind of get more comfortable, kind of be groomed under Dan, and then you're still probably going to be a head coaching candidate next year. So it's a win-win for me, for Ben Johnson. I think it was a good decision. I wouldn't fault him to go get his bag, but hey, I'm selfish. I'm very selfish.
Well, and we don't
the fact
know
that he's back, I'm happy.
We don't know what his contract is going to look like here, and
could be a bag too.
I was going to say, we don't know what the upper management for the Detroit Lions is thinking as far as paying offensive coordinators now. And like I said, if they consider making him assistant head coach, that would come with a hefty pay raise too. So if this is a bag situation, Lions got enough money. I mean, they got enough money to pay anybody, and fortunately, head coaching salaries don't count toward the salary cap. So Pay the best coaches the best money.
Yeah, and I think Sheila will cut that check. She seems like that type. If you got a good offensive coordinator like Ben, I was looking at some of the highest paid OCs, and I'm looking at some of these salaries. I'm like, well, Ben's better than him. Ben's better than him. Ben's better than him. It's like he deserves one of the best highest paid salaries in the NFL. It's just the reality. Now, need more of a sample size, but nobody. I think Ben Johnson's kind of been the love child all year. Everybody's loved Ben. I mean, besides 2 games, New England and maybe Dallas, where they turned the ball over way too much. But for the most part, the offense was the strong suit of the team the entire year, and next year it'll be as well. So, man, future's bright in Detroit, especially offensively. And Ben Johnson, to me, good decision for him. He's still going to have an opportunity to be a head coach. But I can't say it enough, man. Like, as someone whose job is to talk about the Lions, the fact that Ben's back and we could watch this offense for another year and all the creativity it provides, I'm ecstatic. I'm excited.
You know what? And there's a lot of other people excited. We want to get other people involved in this conversation. Let's open up the phone lines.
Let's do it.
313-552-6322 is the phone number. 313-552-6322. You want to call up and talk about Ben Johnson? That's what the conversation we're having this morning. I mean, we got a whole prep sheet of other things to talk about, but
this is big.
Ben Johnson is topic A, B, C, D, E, and continue the alphabet. I do know it, I promise you. But, this is just a good morning, man. Like, going to bed last night and waking up knowing that we had a big Johnson in our bed here with Detroit, it just felt right. Mm-hmm. It felt good.
It did. And although the season's over, they're not in the postseason, this is our victory. It's a victory Wednesday here.
It is a victory Wednesday, and I'll go back to talking about this. The way the Lions season ended is almost perfect. Like, yes, I wanted them to make the playoffs, but I think we both agree the one team that they probably could have lost to in that first round was the San Francisco 49ers, and that's who they would have played. So is a first-round knockout worth the experience that the young players would have gained, or do you like the hunger that this year created? Like, hey, we finished by keeping Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs. We finished by going 8-2. We got hosed on some calls. Like, it puts a chip on their shoulder that they otherwise wouldn't have had if they made the playoffs and got knocked out in the first round, I feel.
Yeah, they're building a ton of momentum. Like, how they ended the season, you beat the Packers. You didn't make the playoffs, but you knocked the Packers out of the playoffs. You got a winning record. Ben Johnson returns. Players vocalize they want to return as well. Like, the Lions are slowly building momentum, and we haven't even gotten to the draft, free agency, training camp. There's a lot more to come, Stick, and I'm very excited.
How is the NFL always relevant? They do it better than any other sport, period.
I know.
Like, we're having a full show on an offensive coordinator. Imagine that for the Pistons. Like, all right,
talk about assistant.
Talking about assistant coaches.
Yeah, Jerome Allen returns, and we're freaking out, pounding the table.
Or Floyd McClendon, the hitting coach, is returning. Like, we don't have those conversations.
Yeah.
The NFL has done such a great job making themselves relevant. 313-552-6322 is the phone number if you want to get in on this Ben Johnson conversation. But first, we got an opportunity for everybody, and you're going to be able to do this throughout every show for the next 3 days. Syntron wants to send you to a VIP experience. Jeff, tell them all about it.
Well, if you want to get in on this fantastic opportunity, you can get the VIP experience like Stick alluded to from Syntron. Get special access to a private Red Wings practice Wednesday, January 25th, 11 to 1 p.m. All you got to do is type Syntron in the chat right now, and we will select a winner by the end of the show. Make sure you keep watching to find out who today's VIP winner is. All brought to you by Syntron.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Market, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better. with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Welcome back to WoodwardSports.com, the Morning at Woodward Show. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam today. Jeff Iafrate, Fish, Alex Westfall, and our boy Matt Broder sitting in the studio. And I should have brought a bigger bottle. Like, this is already gone. I'm used to, like, the post-game shows where me and Anson are just pounding bottles when they get victories, but, yeah, it's already gone.
Well, you know what? We're slowly adapting. This is it's a victory, a huge victory, but as you said before, we're not going to get as excited about these things. Good organizations, this happens to plenty of them, and now the Lions, they're not there yet, but they're trending in that direction. So we're celebrating small victories. We're kind of weaning off the celebrating every single win, which I love that you guys do.
But this is a massive victory.
It's huge.
This is a massive victory for the Lions. This is a literal statement piece for the Lions.
Yeah.
You know, if we woke up this morning and Ben Johnson was the coach of the Carolina Panthers, what conversations would we be having?
How much we miss him, probably.
Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Who's going to replace him? Like, he's the genius. You know, now what excuses would the heavyweights have? He's the only reason Jared Goff was good. You know, all that BS that comes along with it. Now you don't have to worry about it. Jared Goff, I guess, still going to be good now, right?
It's funny. Ben Johnson seems to like him a lot. You know, he likes Jared Goff a lot.
Maybe he recognizes talent that others don't. I don't know. I don't know. We got a lot of people on the phones that want to discuss Ben Johnson returning to Detroit. Mike from North Carolina. Mike's from North Carolina?
He is.
He got to be super pissed then that the Panthers did not get Ben Johnson, unless he's a Lions fan.
He is a Lions fan.
What's going on, Mike? How you feeling this morning?
I'm awesome, man. I'm from Detroit. Moved down here like 10 years ago. I was at that Freeze Bowl. That was awful. But I did call in last week, and I was like, man, just pay the guy, right? And we were talking on your show about it, and we were asking who the highest paid offensive coordinator is. I bet that Sheila did come up with the bag and you know, made him an offer. I bet you he will be the highest paid. And from his point of view, if you think about it, the only question he has is Swift, in my mind. It's like, am I counting on Swift? Otherwise, I've got all the tools. I got all the bullets. You know, it's laid out for him nicely.
Yeah, and I feel like he kind of unlocked how to use Swift at the end of the season, like knowing that you can just use him sparingly. Like, I was doing some research on Swift, and he only had over 10 carries 3 times this season.
Yep.
But when he had that volume, he had a touchdown in every game, and he was averaging about 6 yards per carry.
Right.
So Swift is definitely a concern, but you know, you look at Ben Johnson, man, and he's got to be excited about the tools that he has.
Especially with Jameson Williams getting his first full season.
Yeah.
Got to be excited.
Yeah, where were you when you found out, Mike?
Man, I woke up this morning, poured myself a cup of coffee, and it was a beautiful day, right?
Well, we appreciate you listening all the way in North Carolina, man, and go Lions, dude.
All right, guys.
Go Lions.
Appreciate it.
Who we got next, Fish? Happy Camper Harry from Houghton Lake. That's where my grandparents used to live on North Shore Drive. Shout out to the haunted house at Houghton Lake.
Hey, how's it going, guys? We've got a lot of great news. I was at Garrett's restaurant where I work when I heard about it, and here's all the advantages of keeping a Happy Johnson. we keep going forward, and you're talking about so many different things coming this way. Free agents that may decide, hey, I've played 8 years, I've gotten this money, now I want to go to a team that's got a potential to not only win their division but go far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're going to see a couple of those guys fall over, and those two, you know, you may get 2 guys there that just make a huge difference in the playoffs. There's just so much positivity going this way, and here's another little thing that may change too. Aaron Rodgers is deciding whether do I retire, do I go to a different team.
Yep.
He doesn't want to be in that division because he's got no future trying to beat the Lions. They sent that message nice and clear. They didn't have a chance out of playoffs, and they still whooped his ass in his stadium.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys. I love that. And one last thing, kind of ironic that Fish is getting on Johnson.
Fish does love a nice Johnson. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, you
Thank
guys
you,
have
Harry.
a great day.
Yeah, we got to make
you
a
too.
trip up to Houghton Lake at some point this
absolutely.
summer and hang out with Harry.
Let's do it.
Have a drink.
I'm at Garrett's restaurant. He also has a pressure crack bar right there on the lake, and we got Tip Up Town the last 2 weekends coming up here in January. The weather hasn't been so great, but it got cold just recently, so there may be some fun up here.
Dude, I have pins from like Tip Up Town 1988 when I was a kid going down those ice slides and stuff. I love Tip Up Town.
That is awesome.
We got to show
That is
Adam
awesome.
what that even is. He probably doesn't know what Houghton Lake is. So
yeah,
one last thing, if I can. My father, who passed away about 3 or 4 years ago, it's his birthday today.
Hey.
2 things he would have been super happy about: the Lions moving on up like the Jeffersons, and number 2, they legalized marijuana in Michigan a few years ago. So, anyways, hats off to you guys. Give me a call sometime.
You got it, man.
Appreciate you, Harry,
Rest
man.
in peace to
Peace
Pops,
out.
and it sounds like that's somebody I would want to hang out
Jeff,
with.
one more thing, Jeff. We need to call Bill Lambier and get rid of everybody in that pissing organization and let him build a team like he did the Detroit Shock. He turned the worst team into the best team in 1 year.
Yeah, those are facts, Harry. You're not wrong on that.
Thank you, Harry. And I've been a big fan of Bill Lambier to be a coach for a long time. I think he's gotten a look. We'll discuss that maybe another day, but we're on the Ben Johnson train right now. 313-552-6322 is the phone number. Man, so we went from North Carolina all the way up to Houghton Lake. Now we're going to Leamington, Ohio. Spencer, what's going on, Spencer?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Man, just hearing this whole Ben Johnson thing it's been so uplifting this week because we were so unsure what he was going to do, but after making this statement that, he's got unfinished business in Detroit, this is what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
But now, coming from off this news, what do the Lions have to do now to prevent another 1-6 start? Because next season, you are looking at I think, a much tougher schedule because, especially the road schedule, you're looking at going to the Chargers, you're going to the Saints, you're going to Dallas, Baltimore, Kansas City. I mean, these are going to be some very tough games that they're going to have to overcome. And, coming off that 8-2 stretch, I mean, it was one heck of a turnaround. But, okay, what do these guys have to come up with to keep this momentum going? What do they have to do to get a fast start and not prevent another, slow start like this? It's going to be the big question because if they're going to contend for the NFC North, they got to make some changes at the get-go.
And Spencer, I think the big thing I noticed this year, despite the 1-6 start, is that 5-1 division record. I think that speaks volumes, and that was with this current coaching staff, Ben Johnson, AG. So that should give everybody a lot of confidence. But to your point, not starting 1-6, you're absolutely correct. And I think what gives me more confidence they won't is the fact that they did this year. Like the fact that they went through that and started 1-6 with a lot of young players. You're going to learn now how to problem solve in those situations. They know where they went wrong. They know what they needed to fix. And the fact that they fixed it and went 8-2 down the stretch, it should give you more confidence for how they start next season. But I'm with you. If you want to contend for the NFC North, you got to start out 4-2, 5-1, whatever the case is. You can't get down in the dumps and have to come out of it late in the season. It just can't happen. So I'm with you, but I got confidence with this current coaching staff. They'll learn from those past mistakes.
Yeah, I absolutely do too. And it's like, especially the home field advantage like we had this year, like being in that crowd was just unbelievable. And now with, some of the other teams that are coming in, Carolina's going to be coming to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle's coming back. You're going to have the Raiders. You're going to have the Broncos. Like, it's those games, especially those home games, those are going to be so crucial, especially, those division ones. 5-1 was great in the NFC North, but it didn't win us the division.
Right.
Because, the Vikings, they kept winning those one-possession games, and we got bit early. So it's just, I have full confidence with these guys. I cannot wait for the draft to come by, see what they're going to do, see how the offseason's going to go, who they're going to sign, re-sign, and then when we get, the schedule all set in stone, what they're going to do, I mean, this is going to be something to watch. I could not be more excited to be a Detroit Lions fan right now because of what they're doing.
The one thing I will say about the strength of schedule is coming into this year, it was like, hey, the Lions are going to have one of the top 5 easiest schedules in the NFL. They ended up having a top 5 hardest schedules in the NFL. So what's on paper right now may look intimidating, but some of those teams may fall off. Some of those teams may have struggles. So after this year, I kind of take that, like, predicting how good teams are going to be next year with a grain of salt, because I was all on board. Man, the Lions have an easy schedule this year. Next thing you know, the NFC East decides to play football this year.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
and it's just you don't want to take it for granted because you never know how these teams are going to play.
Correct.
I mean, just see, even looking at the who they're playing, like the Kansas City game, I so hardly believe that that's going to be a primetime game.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. The way how Dan Campbell's running everything, and you're going to go up against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it's like that, you're going to be put in that position. It's like that's going to come into play too. So you're not going to have just those 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, that's the thing. There will be some primetime games, and when you're mentioning Kansas City and a showdown, all I think back to is when Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes had a showdown. What was that, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, one of the best
football games of all time.
Yeah,
all time. Yeah. Well, thank you, Spencer, for joining us from Ohio. We appreciate you, man, and thank you for calling in, and thank you for listening and watching.
Yeah, go Lions.
Yeah, go Lions. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one. And if you want to get in, 313-552-6322 is the phone number. It's nice to talk to other people that are like, hey, I woke up this morning and I just found out, because when news like this breaks, like, our bells and whistles go off everywhere here. It's like a fire drill at Woodward Sports. Like, we got to get a graphic up. We got to get an article up. Everybody tweet about it. What is going on right now? And, here we are sitting here the next morning having a Victory Wednesday.
Yeah, it's like put it in the prep immediately.
Right.
And the fact that everyone kind of has the same sentiment. And I think we know how good this offense is. Next season, it's really about that defense and Aaron Glenn. We saw how good they played towards, down the stretch. So I think both sides of the ball, it's going to be a different story next year, especially for the defense. So I'm excited, man. Lions, it's going to be special this year. I can't wait.
Well, we got Andrew on hold right now. We're going to get to him when we come back. It's talking Ben Johnson all morning. I mean, why not? This is the Ben Johnson's back party. That's what we're going to call it. The whole show. We're just welcoming back Ben Johnson. 313-552-6322 if you want to get in on the conversation. But first, tell them about Guardian Alarm.
Well, let me tell you guys, Guardian Alarm, because Ben Johnson, you don't have to stay out. You could stay inside, and we'll protect you with Guardian Alarm because it's a new year, and Guardian Alarm has customized solutions from real experts. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. They also have 24/7 monitoring as well. You can call them any day or night and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Stay out!
For more information. Ben Johnson, don't stay out.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Ooh, Custom Health wants to get you in shape so you could start losing weight today. You call 844-789-8446. See that man right there? That is old Ryan Ermanni.
You know who that looks like? That looks like Ben Johnson if he were to coach the Houston Texans for like 4 years.
I see that.
Like he would just
eating all that
gain a
fried
ton of
food
weight
in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know what? That's what happens when, you make some poor life decisions. You want to make a good life decision? Custom Health Centers. That's where you got to go. You'll lose some weight. He's already down about 20 pounds when he started this system, so he does not look like that anymore. You want to see what the real Ryan Ermanni looks like? Make sure you're tuning in from 2 to 4 right here on WoodwardSports.com. 844-789-8446. Get your custom health journey started today. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam Baydoun today. He is resting up. He is getting well. Last night he texted me, said he's like, I could probably make it through a show with his crazy voice. And I was like, no, man, like, we want you back 100%. And you know what I love about this? Is when Adam comes back, all the anticipation about what he has to say about Ben Johnson. He went a little hard on Twitter last night, but when he gets back, we get to revisit this whole Ben Johnson conversation again with Adam's perspective.
Hey, speaking of Twitter, did you see what someone tagged me in and then I posted it out?
Adam smoking a hookah in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah, ocean or whatever that was. I found that funny.
Yeah, I know he's chomping at the bit to get back. I know he's got a lot of opinions to get out. Because he didn't talk about this. He was the first. I mean, even as skeptical as I was, Adam was always saying, I think leaving this opportunity to come back and coach this offense, it'd be hard to turn it down. And he was correct. Ben Johnson's back. I just thought, man, that bag, though, all that guaranteed money, I would not fault him at all. I wouldn't.
But once again, we don't know what Sheila promised him. The terms of this agreement have not been out yet.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league? Mm-hmm. We don't know. So we don't know the bag situation. We just know he wants to be here. And that's good enough for me, Jeff. All I need to know is that we're wanted. And the Detroit Lions are wanted. And that's the crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions are a destination. They're a place players want to stay, not run from to go have a good career. Mm-hmm. They're a place that players think they can win a championship at. Like, I want to go a place where I can win a champ. Well, that's now Detroit. You could come here now, and you're not going to be looked at as a fool for being like, oh, you're just taking the money. Like, that's all you're doing. Like, Jamal Williams 2 years ago, when he's coming to Detroit, it looks like, oh, that's the only job you could land, right?
Right.
Detroit's the only one who gave you it. You feel bad for those people. Now it's like, oh, you get to go to Detroit?
Yeah. And that's the part. I mean, if you're a free agent, you're looking at destinations. Weather matters. I mean, not having taxes, all that stuff comes into play. But the Lions, even Detroit, as cold as it can be, it's not necessarily about the weather. Look at Buffalo. If you're contending and you have a good organization, you have a good culture, players are going to want to play for you. So the Lions are kind of shifting that. They're going in that direction right now. It's not about Detroit. It's not about the weather. It's not about Michigan. It's about what can the Lions provide for me? Can they improve my career? Can I go here? They saw DJ Chark come here, play well, take a one-year deal. That players are going to see that stuff. So it's not about the state you're in. It's about what are you guys doing? Can I come there and win games and enjoy going to work? And the Lions are slowly doing that. So you're right, free agents, they're looking over like, what's going on over in Detroit?
Well, and you've even heard of current Lions players that, it's weird because they're in their contract stage right now. They were Lions last year. They're not currently Lions because of their contract, but they're saying they'll take less money to return.
Right.
Less money to come to the Lions. Not you got to pay the Detroit tax. Less money to come to the Detroit Lions. I have never heard that in my life, and I am 41 years old.
No, usually you got to overpay.
That's what I was saying. No Detroit tax. No, like, all right, here's your 10 mil, but you're coming to Detroit. Now it's 12.
Yeah, Uncle T always made that point. He's always like, hey, you're gonna have to pay some free agents over what they're valued to come here.
Not no more.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, people are going to take less money.
Yeah.
We're going to get more players, better players for less money. This is like how you get frustrated with rich people because they stay rich. It's like you had money. Of course, it's easy for you to make money.
Right.
But it's the Lions. Like, you have good players. Of course, it's easy for you to get good players, and that's what the Detroit Lions are now. We're becoming generationally wealthy.
Right.
The Lions went from being poor to where nobody wanted to come. You had to overpay. To now we're wealthy to where we're getting bargains. We're getting hooked up. We're getting the swag bag that we don't need because we already have $1 million. But the thing's worth $20,000, and they're like, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, think guys look at Cincinnati or Buffalo and go, I want to live in Ohio, or I want to live in Buffalo where you have 4 feet of snow every winter. It's not all about that. It's about where am I going? What's the organization like? And the Bengals are clear contenders. I'm not saying the Lions are there yet, but they're trending in that direction. I think if they can improve next season, and Dan Campbell, he's always talked about culture. And the first thing that me and Adam always said is, if you want culture, you got to win games. They're winning games, Stick. That culture's changing. I think free agents are going to look at Detroit and say, I can thrive there, and it's going to be more attractive.
I don't know why this thought just hit me, and I hate that it did. Am I drinking too much hopium right now? Am I drinking too much KoolAid right now?
I don't think so, because the proof's in the pudding. Like if there was no free agents like a Bugs, an Anzalone, a Kamitsky that didn't come out and say I want to return, and you were saying guys want to be here, maybe. But you see proof. It's real, Stick. You're seeing players that want to return.
Tell me it's real, Jeff.
You're seeing coaches. You're seeing coaches that want to return. I promise you, this is real. This isn't KoolAid. We're not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. We're saying the tide is slowly turning. Am I wrong? Is it not? It's clear as day. It is
different.
It does.
This is a new feeling, and it's something you always hoped would have, but now that it's here, it's like, wait a minute, this can't be real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's real. We're sitting here. We're popping champagne. We're talking about Ben Johnson. We're talking about players wanting to take pay cuts. And we got people online right now. 313-552-6322, woodwardsports.com. Chat still going nuts over this, too. Andrew from Washington, D.C. Man, we gotta get one of those like little digital maps where we're plotting where all the phone calls come from, because we're all over the country today. What's going on, Andrew? How you feeling this morning?
Hi, Stick, Jeff. How's it going? Andrew from D.C. So I've always lived in D.C. My dad came to Detroit in '68 from the Philippines. It was a very popular destination back then. But since then, as growing up, a little bit of indoctrination in my home. Some people said child abuse, but I've always loved my Lions. I was at the '91 championship game versus the Redskins.
I'm sorry.
And we lost, but I was wearing my Pistons starter, and the fans were nasty to me. I was 11 years old, and they were cussing at me. And ever since then, I've been I really can't stand the Redskins no matter what. And since then, we've dominated. That is one team we have dominated. We've stuck our flag in the sand. We've ended their seasons before. They helped us get our first win after 0-18. And Ndamukong Suh handled the Eagles quarterback. I forgot his name. But that was a great victory. And also the RG3 game where he fumbled forward, and then Calvin Johnson deployed the whole team into the end zone on a muddy day. Stafford never lost to the Redskins. I know this is old Lions, but this is one team we've always dominated, and I'm glad growing up. But,
yeah, and it was the Aiden Hutchinson coming out party this year too in the second half, or in the first half when he had 3 sacks.
Let's not even mention that game. We spoke from that game. So yeah, waking up this morning, smiling, not even shockingly surprised. Everything's on program. Things are happening the way they should. Just thank you for your time, guys. Very excited about our Lions.
Hey, appreciate it, Andrew. Man. Appreciate you holding on hold too for that long through the break.
And
I
appreciate your fandom too. That's real.
And ironically, Andrew, I had a very similar experience when I was young. When the Pistons won the championship in '89 and '90, I had like my Pistons jumpsuit. I was about 9 years old. We were on a family road trip. We were at a campsite, and people started to bully me because of my Pistons stuff. And like in a 10-year-old, 9-year-old's head, it's like, wait, they're the champions. How do people think they're bad? Like, that was my logic. But then I learned very early on that it's Detroit versus everybody. And that's been the mentality since I was 10 years old, even before Tommy Walker put it on a T-shirt.
Tell them.
Love it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
All right.
Eric from Detroit. A local call. Hell yeah. Eric from Detroit. Ben Johnson is back. Eric, where were you when you found out the news?
What up, though?
What up, though?
What's up? Hey, Jeff. Been a minute, man. I ain't been able to call in, been busy. But, actually, I was on the phone with my brother. And my brother was like, hold on. He was like, I ain't going to tell you. I'm going to send it to you. So I opened the tweet. I'm like, oh! I'm like, okay. So me and him have been talking. And I was like, this what made me think Ben Johnson was coming back. When the Chargers fired Lombardi.
Yep.
I was like, that's the only job that was appealing. Because you had a top quarterback. I'm like, Carolina, Ben Johnson going to go work with Sam Darnold? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I figured he was coming back. It was just the nervousness of the Chargers. But now it's time. With where I'm at now, I'm looking at the draft. I'm looking at free agency. I ain't saying Roquan Smith was my big fish.
Oh,
he
that would
gone.
have been nice, right?
So now I'm thinking DeJuan Payne, but I think Washington gonna franchise him. But it's like we need a D tackle and we need to get some more vets. Other than that, I'm looking at this organization now from the top, from Sheila on down, and it's like everybody on the same page. Like y'all said, Ben Johnson want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Players want to come back.
Yep.
And you got to look at the players that want to come back. They're not a high caliber type pay scale players. When players that ain't making that much saying, hey, look, I come back for less to come back and play with this team, for this culture, and for this coach. That's when the big name, big time free agents in the NFL and other players look and say, well, I'll go to Detroit. Or, hey, if I'm going to get traded, I'm going to go to Detroit. If y'all really look at it around Twitter, players are liking Detroit on Twitter.
Right.
Lamar Jackson wants to come here if he wants to get traded. But it's like, when you got guys like, man, hey, look, I'll go play there. It's not the same old thing. And right now, bump the schedule, bump who we get on the schedule. Who should we be afraid of? Yeah. Nobody. Because coming into next season, I believe in Brad Holmes so much and Dan Campbell right now. We should have a complete team. And Ben Johnson, a second year, I think it was smart. Get some more experience under your belt, because next year you will be able to have your pick of the litter.
Yeah, Eric makes a ton of great points there, and he was talking about the Chargers job too. That was one of the things that we were going back and forth with in the Woodward Sports text thread. But here's the deal. Detroit has a quarterback. That's something I don't think a lot of people are considering. Yeah, Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. Maybe Jared Goff's better. I said maybe.
Okay.
You saw it.
You prefaced it.
How did Justin Herbert do in the playoffs this year?
Didn't play too well.
Did Justin Herbert blow a 27-point lead? You want that guy leading your team?
Yeah, he was the quarterback of a team that did blow a 27-0 lead. Still love
What
him.
do we think about Matt Ryan, who blew a Super Bowl 28-3 lead?
Yeah,
that's a smaller. That's smaller. 25 points compared to 27.
And that was with Kyle Shanahan too.
So, and to me, taking a lateral position for another OC, like it just lets you be another look behind the curtain. Like, wait, they got Justin Herbert, but pretty confident in my guy Goff, who doesn't throw interceptions.
Right. And again, for Goff and Eric, man, appreciate him. He always cue his calls up. He's speaking facts as usual. And the Lions next season, man, he mentioned it. You get a D tackle, you get another corner. Like, there's a couple of positions you got to shore up, but this is a team poised to compete for the NFC North and at the least to make a wild card spot. I still got a lot of love for Herbert, but I get where you're coming from. And
I love Herbert.
He's comfortable.
Herbert's a great quarterback.
But the point you're making, and I agree with you, it's not like you're chasing, I need a good quarterback. You have an offense and a quarterback you were top 4 in the league with.
This is my guy.
Not saying Goff's better than Herbert, but to your point, it's like, why leave a good situation for a lateral move?
Here's the question. Okay, Herbert may be better than Goff. How much better? Are you upgrading from a 9 to a 10? Cool, I'm only going up one position. If Jared Goff was a 5, you get to go to a 10.
Right, this isn't Darnold to Herbert.
Exactly.
It's not a huge. It's Goff, I think, is in the conversation. Maybe that tier 2, and maybe Herbert's that upper echelon of tier 2. If you want to put him in tier 1, that's fine. I probably wouldn't, because those quarterbacks in tier 1 have playoff success. But man, Herbert's a stud. But Ben Johnson returning, it speaks volumes to not only the Lions, but I think you made a great point to Goff as well, because you got a lot of love for Goff, man. Like, second half of the season, he played lights out.
And I have more love for Goff because he's made me look very smart. I've been protecting Goff since he got here, and now that I get to like plant my flag and be like, see you idiots, see you morons, thinking a 28-year-old quarterback who's been to a Super Bowl and was a #1 overall pick can't play football. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Use your head, use logic. He's a good quarterback. Great. I'm not putting him in that conversation yet.
But he has a ton of experience, which is something you can't teach.
Skill, insight, leadership, not a problem in the locker room. There's so many intangibles that don't go onto the field that you get with Jared Goff.
What was the drive? Was that the Bears game where the headset went out and Goff pretty much called the drive by himself?
Sure is nice to have an experienced vet. Would you want a rookie out there trying to play with that?
Yeah.
Like, that's like handing your keys to your Corvette to a 15-year-old with a permit. You don't do that. You want Jared Goff to drive the car.
Goff's like, we're good. We're good. I got this, fellas. They were holding up signs. He's like, I'm okay. And that's the experience part. And Ben Johnson, man, he's a smart fella. He's got a degree in mathematics, and he can do numbers. And
I don't care about degrees. Matt Patricia proved that theory
but
wrong.
But as a joke,
he's an aerospace scientist.
Mathematics degree. You're doing the numbers, and the numbers tell you that Lions offense. It's got some studs on it.
You know what the numbers tell me? Big Boy is delicious for breakfast.
You're absolutely correct.
Before you get to that, we got some more callers on hold. Bart, Brian, Brandon, we're going to get back to you right after this.
Yes, and I want to tell you guys about Big Boy. We were there about a month ago, and man, did I dive into some winter food, because it is the time of the year. Big Boy, you could try the classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo, but if you come for breakfast, they got breakfast as well. The stuffed potato pancakes, the Lumberjack, Santa Fe Garden, or Blockbuster. You can stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because if you're like Fish and you want to get tan for the ladies, I got the spot for you. It's Chili Peppers Tanning, and you could check it out. They got all the cleanest, spotless, sanitized rooms and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget, ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your Vitamin D headquarters. 27 locations and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan?
Chili Peppers Tan.
Tell them, Fish.
And while you're getting tan, you can go downtown looking all nice and sexy, and you can go to Monroe Street Midway.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of fun stuff to do down there. You can eat, and I love food. Like, that's one of my favorite things about being alive is food.
I agree.
When I had COVID and I lost my taste and smell, it ruined my, like, that was the hardest thing I had to deal with. Like, I love food, and I was eating things I love, and I couldn't even taste them. Well, I got my taste back, and now I get to go to the Monroe Street Midway. I get to eat pierogies. I get to eat homemade chili. They got burgers, chicken sandwiches, mac and cheese bites, plus the gluten-free and vegan options for trendy folk like you, Jeff.
Come on, you guys. I'm the gluten-free guy.
You're the gluten-free
Even
guy.
though I'm not, I promise.
You drink a frap every morning, so I'm assuming you're gluten-free.
Okay, leave me out of this. Midway.
Yeah, but the Midway, you got your winter bumper cars down there, which are fun. The Arctic Slide, where you get in an inner tube, slide down 20-foot high, 80-foot long, brought to you by Come Play Detroit. And plus, they got the arcade down there. It's a great time. Downtown Detroit at the Monroe Street Midway. All right, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on woodwardsports.com. Chat's been going off today. My name is Stick. I'm filling in for Adam. That is Jeff. He is himself, not filling in for anybody. Fish, of course, is Fish. Alex Westfall. Matt Broder sitting in, just kind of observing today. We're going to talk a little bit about some Michigan stuff going on later in the show, but this has just turned into the Ben Johnson welcome back party, baby.
Yeah. As it should.
As it should. And Ben Johnson, if you're watching right now, From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
We love you.
You made us feel special.
Yeah, it's been amazing. You've been a bright light for a lot of different reasons.
Tell them, Jeff. Tell them.
And the fact that you're returning, and the fact that you vocalized that you love what the Lions are building, it's not real life. I pinched myself during the break to see if I was dreaming. I can confirm I'm not dreaming. This is real life. Ben Johnson's coming back. And this offense, we're ready to run it back, baby.
How do you not? I pinched myself this morning watching tennis. How do you not?
How do you not, Fish?
Hey, shut up, Fish.
Okay.
Sorry, someone asked for that in the chat.
Hey, you even know that Numbnuts lost this morning. That was nice of you.
Yeah, the Australian Golf Open's going on, and
tennis.
Nadal lost, right?
He did. He lost to an American.
That's right. Everybody loses to America.
America. Proud of it.
I would never want to play an American.
No, you would not.
Even on foreign soil.
Nope.
America.
Proud of it.
Love this country. And love Ben Johnson, because he's an American.
He is an American.
An American Ben Johnson.
Why do you do
American
that so
well?
You don't want to know. I come from a long line of Southerners. Brian is on the phone, 313-552-6322. We're just taking celebratory calls all morning. Want to know where you were at when the Ben Johnson news broke. What do you think of the future, and what do you think it means for the Lions? Brian wants to talk about Lions leadership. What you talking about this morning, Brian? Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Jeff and Stick, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good deal, man. Good show, good energy this morning. Hey, most people know me as first black man on the net, so I'm going to go with that. They know me. But here we go. Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
All I ever wanted as a Lions fan, all the way back to Barry, was a competent front office. And we've never had one. I don't want to hear about this hot one year, promise the next year. I wanted a competent front office, because every time I saw teams play us, they did the things that we never, ever did. We see that now with leadership with Dan and Brad. Now we know what a competent front office looks like. It's transparency from coach to player and vice versa. Culture is an understatement. We've heard culture change this, Caldwell this, Patricia culture. I want to hear that garbage no more. This is real culture. When cats break it down with tears, like Brad Holmes on the Danny Show, talking about Panay and your boy St. Brown.
Right.
He's like, he breaks down with freaking tears, like what they mean to him. Hey, bro, we got something real special going on. Ben Johnson knew that. He did what he had to do by protocol. And if you look back at the 1-6 start with what we went through, I guarantee if you go by game and look at the key injuries, I ain't talking about just injuries. Injuries are part of the game. But we had key injuries that end up being healthy at the end of the year that helped the 8-2 run. They came back. And people were like, oh, man, we could have done this, we could have done that. Yeah, we were still growing. We were going from top down. Dan was growing. The coaching staff had to make some hard changes. They had to get rid of people. All the way back to Anthony Lynn, Hawkinson, R.B. Pleasant. Look, it's not part of our future. We got to go. These brothers have turned into dire straits, my guys. Brothers in arms right now. It is real scary for the rest of the league. And I'm going to leave it with this. Not only are they a reflection of Dan, Dan is a dog. And Dan has empowered everyone. That's the key. Yeah, we're going to lose some cats down the line. But I think he has a contingency. I really do, because he knows what he's bringing. Everybody talks about Frisco. Hey, man, we go up against Frisco.
His phone was breaking up. I love hearing from Brian, man. Like, I was getting goosebumps when that dude was talking. That guy should be a motivational speaker.
He said Frisco.
Yeah,
I love the confidence, but he was preaching facts. I mean, he's right. It starts from the top to the bottom, and especially from the top, it's probably the best it's been in the history of the Detroit Lions. And from that aspect, it is a family environment. But what I love is it's not just a family environment. They demand the best out of everybody. Yep. It's not just, hey, we're all friends. It's, hey, we love you, but we demand excellence out of you. And Dan Campbell and that coaching staff, they've been proven to develop players. They've gotten production out of guys like Bugs, Kamitsky, Jerry Jacobs, like guys that you really wouldn't turn a blind eye to just in free agency. But speaks a lot to the coaching staff and the culture they're building. So he's absolutely correct.
Yeah, 3 things I took away from his call, which, by the way, absolutely great call. Thank you so much for calling in. Well, one thing the Lions have done is flip the script, right? Now it used to be, if you leave, the Lions are feeling bad. We lost a good player. He's leaving us. Now if you have to go somewhere else, it's almost like you're sad you got to leave the Lions.
Right.
Like, that's crazy that's the mindset of some players. And he talked about getting rid of some things. That is probably the biggest indicator of how well Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and Sheila have a feel of this thing, because everybody that they've gotten rid of, they've gotten better from. It's addition by subtraction. They're eliminating the weak links. And then they're getting a much stronger chain from it. And then another thing that early on that he was talking about, and I think is kind of overlooked, is that 6-year contract for Dan Campbell. I think now we can reflect on it and say how important it is, because it shows you stability. And players know, like, all right, I'm not coming into a coach on a dead duck contract who doesn't know, or lame duck contract, who doesn't know if he's going to be here next year. Like, they've committed to this guy. They've committed to the program. And I think that stability goes a long way with players.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. I mean, in the beginning of it, you know, you're a 3-win football team, and then you follow it up, you're 1-6. The positivity isn't necessarily at an all-time high among Lions fans. But the reality is, now that you've turned that around, 9-8, 3 wins to 9 wins. Now, to your point, that consistency is so important. Now Dan has a lot more years. Players know when they come to Detroit, that's their head coach. That's who they're signing to. It's an organization that in the past has been quick to make changes, and it's been just cycling of coaches, general managers. Now you have some stability with Brad and Dan, and that's attractive to players. You're absolutely correct.
Let's talk to Brendon in Detroit. He's talking about the Lions and Ben Johnson, of course, because that's all this is the Ben Johnson party, baby. What's going on, Brendon? How you feeling this morning?
What up, though?
What up? Biggity go. What's going on, fellas?
This is it, man.
I woke up this morning to the beautiful moon. The sky was hallelujah blue. I felt great today, man. I felt great, man. Ben Johnson, that's important because I feel like we needed consistency. Now, it's big that he would have went to a team and been the head coach, but him staying here, our players are familiar with the system. There's not going to be no changes like that. And, Stick, I got to give you a shout-out, man. I screamed at the TV every time you supported Jared Goff. I'm like, we need a mobile quarterback, man. We need somebody who can get out the pocket and do something on the fly. But looking at Justin Fields, a player that I actually wanted, and look how he struggled against the defense. Like, yeah, he got some flashy garbage yards, but it didn't mean anything.
Right.
So now I see what you were saying, Stick. I see what you were saying, man. You made me a believer, man.
Hey.
I'm willing to actually root for Jared Goff. And Dan Campbell, that's my guy because he made me feel something. See, for the Lions, I've been cold for so long, I didn't even want to pay to go to the games no more. Right. I felt like I was wasting money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's my fear right now, too, is like this is all just fool's gold. Like, I think you're in the same boat I am, man. Like, it's hurt so long, you don't know what good feels like.
yeah, but that's the thing, though. I mean, once you get close enough to it, you can tell the difference between fool's gold and gold's gold. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And for us to believe in our team again, that's the most important thing because they feed off us. And if we bashing them and we saying same old Lions and we scream at the coach, like how I scream at the Piston coach, just know I bumped into him down at the Atlanta game earlier in the season.
Yep.
Me and him and Piston talked a long time, man. I kept calling Corey Joseph his boy. That's the difference. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
It's a major difference.
You can feel the connection with the coach and the front office, ownership, across the board. That's what we don't feel. That's what we don't feel with other Detroit organizations. So that's the biggest thing. You know, that's why my sky is hallelujah blue. And that's why I believe now.
It is actually crazy. The sun is out today, and you can actually see the sky as I'm looking out the window. This is Ben Johnson's responsible for this.
It's hallelujah blue, baby.
Yes. Thanks a lot, fellas, man. Keep up the good work, man. I love everything y'all doing for the city.
Hey, we appreciate you, Brandon.
You're the
Appreciate
man.
that phone call.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear that people are starting to like come around on Goff. And I'm not saying you got to be all in. I'm just saying you got to understand that the guy can get it done.
Yeah, and you've been on it from the very beginning, and I think that's where the respect, because people need to see results first. You went with your gut, and you were absolutely correct. Jared Goff is somebody that you can win playoff games with. He's been to a Super Bowl, as we know, and if you have the good coaching, you have the right situation, like any other quarterback needs, he can provide you success. So next year, man, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, this defense that much improved. Can't wait to see.
Well, we got Bart, David, Fletch, and Mike on the line. We're going to get to them next. And also, we got to announce the winner for the Cintron VIP experience. Ooh. This is going on throughout every show today, tomorrow, and Friday. We're qualifying a bunch of people. And you know what? She's been a loyal day one. She was the first to comment Cintron. Tammy Chin, come on down. You are going to be a VIP at a Red Wings practice. Make sure you just email me and let me know all your information. It's stick@woodwardsports.com. Stick@woodwardsports.com. Tammy, email me. I'll get you all set up so you can be a VIP
happy
at
for you,
that
Tammy.
practice. Yeah, happy for you, Tammy, and love all the support. And we know you're probably the biggest Red Wings fan I've ever met in my life.
Things are just meant to be sometimes.
But we got to get to those callers. Everybody's celebrating Ben Johnson, but Jeff, tell them about Swiss Insurance.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance for your commercial review. Many businesses choose a New Year's Day effective date, but Swiss Insurance can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give them a shot and you won't be disappointed. Mark at SwissINS.com for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Welcome back to woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam this morning. He's going to be back with a vengeance, and I'm sure excited about some Ben Johnson return.
Oh, he's going to have a lot to get out.
Yeah.
So I got to prepare myself for it. But no,
you're just going to sit there for like 2 hours while Adam goes nuts.
No, I miss him. Well, I hope you're feeling better, man. Love you, Adam.
Yeah, love you too, Adam. Feel better, buddy. We appreciate you. That is Jeff Iafrate. Fish is here. Fish, I'm sorry I don't abuse you as much, but I'll tell you to shut up if that makes you feel better.
Makes me feel just as fine as normal as any other day.
What about if I tell you I love you?
That's nice of you.
That's a good dynamic. Like when Adam's here, shut up with you. It's like I love you, Fish.
Yeah, the old kick the dog, pet the dog scenario.
Oh my God,
you
so
can't
bad.
just constantly kick the dog. You got to pet it sometimes.
I mean,
right?
Adam tells me love me, and then
you never heard that expression?
I have never heard that expression.
And I'm not advocating kicking dogs. It's an expression.
Yeah. I get it.
Alex Westfall here. Matt Broder sitting in the big comfy Maz
Adam
chair.
tells me he loved me sometimes, and then he tells me to shut the F up. And we live on.
Yeah, your dynamic is something special, man. Something special. Speaking of something special, we've been talking about it all morning. I got my little champagne buzz going because, during the post games for the Lions games at the Brass Rail, people were commenting, I don't recognize Stick when he's on at the Brass Rail. Most people don't recognize me when I'm not sitting up at a bar. That is my, go-to.
Yeah.
If you see a bar and a Jack and Coke in front of me, then, we got some things
But you
going
are
on.
a man of the people, though. Like, where Stick is where a lot of people are. So you'll find Stick. It's funny seeing him down at Brass Rail. You guys are having a good time, man. I can't wait till next season.
Oh, my God.
Your guys' post-game shows.
Dude.
It's going to be unbelievable.
And not to get off track and talk about baseball, but opening day's coming soon,
yeah,
too.
we'll be down
Last
there,
year,
too.
opening day was insane. We had Brass Rail and the tent party.
Yeah.
So, definitely going to be partying downtown this next year. And I cannot wait for Lions home opener next year. it is going to be a zoo in Detroit.
And I can't remember who it was, if it was Brendon or Eric. I think it was Brendon that hit on this. But the fans, right? Like people like yourself, even myself, and many other Lions fans saying, I don't really want to go to these games. But towards the end of the season, Ford Field, nobody wanted to play at Ford Field. It was one of the loudest stadiums. I mean, even you heard coaches and players talk about that. And imagine next season, coming off in which the season they just played 8-2 down the stretch, that home opener. Talk about standing room only. Might be people in the parking lot.
Well, and I noticed it too, being at the Brass Rail because it's so close to Ford Field.
Yeah.
Last 2 seasons ago when we were down there, our first full season down there were a lot of visiting fans coming through. This year, maybe a quarter of what I saw last year of visiting fans.
Yeah.
So that means Detroit fans aren't selling their tickets anymore.
Right. And I was at a couple games this year. I was at Miami, and I remember Miami was probably, and I was most shocked, it was probably like 40% Miami fans. I was really, but that was during the time they were 1-6.
Right.
And then I came to a game Thanksgiving, different story.
Yep.
Probably 80% Lions fans.
Yeah.
So it's that's how the script flips. You win games, people want to go to games.
Thursday, April 6th is opening day for the Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, can't
April
wait.
6th, going to be a good day. Fish, can you clear off what you're searching? Because I'm sharing your screen right now, and I need to see the phones.
Sorry. Well, I wanted to make sure you you had the opening day thing.
Who's been on hold the longest, Fish? Is it Bart?
Sure, you can put him through.
All right, let's talk to Bart, talking about Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions, and he wants to bring up Brad Holmes. Bart, you're calling from Sterling Heights?
What's going on, Bart?
That's correct.
How you feeling this morning?
Good. Did Adam break open the key since the Ben Johnson announcement?
I think that's why Adam isn't here. He pulled a Scarface last night and just put his face down in a big pile of excitement.
Oh, real quick. It starts from the top down. The organization has changed. Sheila come out and saying you got to trust in this organization, trust in Brad, trust in Dan. When they came out after the 1-6 start. Also seen a clip where she's calling other owners to talk about the same old refs, SOR. I mean, how many games have we seen this year? Especially when that player 23 pushed the Rams guy in the Seattle kicker. Yep. The Rams would have had the ball at the 40-yard line. That cost us our playoffs, I would say. Or a good, part of it.
Yeah, and the competition committee's been looking at that, and I guess they've had some issues with it, and they're talking about, they have this technology where it's like a robot in the sky type thing, where it can be a sky official that may get involved in the NFL, and that's something that the NFL is looking at.
I mean, you look at, just the cameras on, the end zone pylons, what a difference that has made in the calls this year.
Right.
Then you go down to Brad Holmes. When he first started, he traded for Goff, which I thought, I trust in Brad's judgment for bringing Goff to the Lions. Also, he, 2 days later after he made that trade, he didn't sign the receiver that wound up on the Giants. What a good move that he made on that.
Oh, Kenny Galladay?
Kenny Galladay.
He was only like 87 catches away from reaching his bonus this year. That's it.
Exactly. Then you go down to, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, grant you at the beginning of the season he had injuries where he was some of those decisions that he made, by not using the kicker is he didn't trust his kicker. You look at the injuries that we had and then getting rid of the DB coach, that took some cojones to sit here and do that. Firing him during the season. Look how we changed since then, The other thing I noticed, Rex Ryan made, a comment about TJ. He can't block, and that trade from Brad, getting what he got for TJ, he wasn't going to re-sign him,
Yeah, that saves us, I think, Neil Rule broke it down, it saves us like $7 million a year off the cap in that tight end position, and that's another solid player you can add to the defense.
Exactly. And the other thing that, looking back at some of the game film, 2 of the pick sixes from Golf were in TJ's direction.
Yep.
And it's just something you go see TJ running over to the coach saying, "Hey, I seen this." Well, apparently somebody made a mistake, and I would say between not blocking and those interceptions and not being able to sign TJ, we got 2 draft picks now, this year and next year, for the TJ. Which, if we would let him just walk, we only would have got a 3rd.
Yep.
With compensation. in the league, he's a top 10, tight end. There's no question about that.
Fantasy was top 3 this year. I mean, he puts up yards, but for the scheme that Ben Johnson's running, it doesn't seem like a tight end is necessary. Thank you, Bart, for your call. We appreciate you. 313-552-6322. Let's hit up David calling from Detroit. David wants to know and wants us to let Sheila know. Just give Ben the bag. Right, David? David, you there? Fish, you got David on?
Got me.
Oh, there he is.
You got me?
Yeah, what's going on,
what's
man?
up,
How are
David?
you?
All right, moving on from David.
I want to bring this stat up. Our guy Matt Broder just said it to me, which is a great stat, by the way. I did not know this. Detroit Lions games, this is per Sports Business Journal. Detroit Lions games had the largest jump in attendance in the league for the 2022 season. It says the attendance at the Lions games were 23.1% higher than last year. In 2022, they sold an average of 63,400 tickets compared to the average of 51,500 in 2021. Man, a lot and that's coming off 3 wins. Nobody wants to buy tickets, and now to finish the season, everybody was buying tickets. So.
Yeah, Ford Field is becoming a home field advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been in there. I was there when Javid Best broke that long touchdown run, and Sean Belizean, when he was here at WoodwardSports.com, he was talking about how that's the loudest he ever heard Ford Field. Same with me. It was extremely loud, and that place can get rocking and cause problems for people visiting Detroit.
Yeah, I want to see more reactions to when Jameson caught that touchdown against the Vikings. That place was loud.
When he was going slapping hands with everybody around, like, I can't wait to see more. How are we going to wait till September?
I don't know.
How? I want it now.
I know.
Now. Give it to me now.
You can talk to me. I've got some sports that can tide you over till then.
Yeah, there's no sport as great as football, Fish. I love you, and you always say that. Well, there's always something going on.
There is.
Cricket doesn't cut it for me, buddy. Sumo. I'll watch sumo with you, though.
There you go.
Let's talk to Fletch calling from...
You do have David back on if you want him, by the way.
Oh, do you? Okay, we'll get back to him. Let's talk to Fletch from Central Florida.
Good morning, fellas.
Hey,
what's going on? This morning. How you guys doing, man? A lot of energy this morning, positive energy. Go Blue, go Gators in the house. Johnson. Need to talk a little bit about him. I mean, he's a great coach. He's going to get a job in the future playing Debbie Downer. What if our record doesn't really improve next year? It kind of stays the same, or maybe we even fall a game. Who knows? What will he still be an attractive pickup for another team, whether it be head coach or offensive coordinator?
I think it depends on the offense, right? Like even this year, you're 9-8, and they started 1-6, but that offense was top 4 all year. So it really depends, I guess, on the offensive numbers. And if Jared Goff has another good year, teams are going to look at that and see what Ben's done with Jared in this offense. That's going to be attractive. I don't think the wins. I mean, they're important, obviously, especially if you play in a playoff game. I think that matters as well. But yeah, I think it's more just on the offensive rankings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to tarnish the shine he's got on him right now.
Yeah,
and like I said, unless they come out and they're like a 20th ranked offense, as long as they're top 10, top 7, and they look productive, I don't think the record is indicative of any of that, because even when they were 1-6, the offense wasn't the problem.
Right, and I'm sure people were still watching Ben Johnson during that time anyway. So I'm with you. This offense just got to be top 5 again.
Let's go to Mike in West Branch. Do they still have that outlet mall in West Branch, Mike?
If you can call it an outlet mall, yes, they do. It's pretty sad. Although they do have axe throwing there now.
Heck yeah! That's a random skill of mine for some reason.
Well, come on up. We've got the highway there, our own little brewery in town. If you come up during the summer, we got the Dream and the Nightmare. You can go golfing also. So
I've never golfed those courses. I've heard they're ridiculously nice.
They extremely nice. And we've got West Branch Country Club also, so a lot of golf.
Yeah, I used to stop by West Branch on my way to Houghton Lake to visit the grandparents, to bring it full circle from the Houghton Lake caller from earlier.
I work out of Houghton Lake, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Anyway,
well, tell us about Ben Johnson,
I'm happy for two things here, not just Brett Johnson, but keeping him not only keeps him, but it keeps the guys he would have taken with him to his next team.
That's a great point.
I heard Adam and Jeff there talking about his assistant or the tight end coach or whatever and how he would step up. there's no telling whether he would have stuck with the Lions or if he would have gone with Ben and become his offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just Ben that we're keeping. It's the rest of our staff that we're keeping intact also.
That is
that's
great point.
Massive.
Yeah, because you see that all the time when an OC leaves. Like he may take a Mark Brunell with him, or he may take his tight end coach, who is the future Ben Johnson, and sometimes Jamal Williams may have been a free agent. That's like, all right, I like playing in that offense. I'm going to follow Ben Johnson as well. So that's a great point.
Well, and you take the guys you know and you're comfortable with, which is the same thing that Dan Campbell did. He brought the guys from New Orleans that he got along well with, and he knew had the same kind of outlook on things as he does. So the second thing I'm terribly excited about was I heard that guy in Green Bay open his mouth again.
Yep.
And every time he opens his mouth, I get happy, because now he's talking about either getting traded and going somewhere else and getting an MVP, which would kill Green Bay with the cap. I don't know how anyone would trade for him, because nobody's going to pay his salary. Or he could retire, and that would kill Green Bay. Green Bay's dead because of him for the next, 5-6 years.
Yeah,
so
and that's a topic that we're
mouth.
going to talk about, too, is what the NFC North looks like. We'll probably do that tomorrow.
It's looking really good.
Yep, looking great. Well, thank you, Mike, for the phone call. And like I said, that's a great point. It's not only that the Lions would have lost Ben Johnson, they would have lost more assets as well.
Yeah, and I'll give you a perfect example. Kevin O'Connell, he was the OC for the Rams. When he went to the Vikings, he took with him Wes Phillips, who was also the pass game coordinator and the tight ends coach, coincidentally, like a Tanner Ekstrand. It's the same concept. So, he's absolutely right. If Ben were to leave, he's taking somebody he's comfortable with along with him. And for Kevin O'Connell, that was Wes Phillips. And for Ben Johnson, if he were to leave, it could be Tanner that goes with him along. So it's not just Ben you're keeping, it's the entire offensive staff. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and man, this is such a great day. Such a great day to wake up and do this.
Oh, it's amazing.
These are the days you look forward to when you're in sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
You don't get many of these moments. How have you ever been excited for the Lions re-signing an OC?
I was going to ask you that earlier. Have we ever celebrated an OC returning as much as we have Ben Johnson?
The biggest one I can remember is Mike Martz. When they got Mike Martz, I was super excited.
Yeah.
And, John Kitna played pretty well. Our offense worked pretty well under Mike Martz, except the way his blocking schemes would just get your quarterback absolutely murdered. And you want to know who murders the lobster industry? Cousins, Maine Lobster. They are going to be today in Plymouth, and I'm actually going to go there today in Plymouth on Ann Arbor Road. So like I said, we're going to go check out Matrix for our live broadcast. Then I'm going to stop by the lobster food truck, and if you want to know where they're going to be, you can go to their website, cousinsmainelobster.com, or just scan that QR code right now. Like I said, they're going to be in Plymouth today at the Citgo gas station, 42395 Ann Arbor Road. Tomorrow, you can catch them in Southfield and Shelby Township, and Friday, Rochester and Ferndale. But you want some of that sweet, buttery lobster? Make sure you go. Cousins Maine Lobster Food Truck.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the three biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Call me Mr. Flintstone because I can make your bed rock. Bedrock Detroit has deckedoutdetroit.com where you can go shop, eat, and play at the Monroe Street Midway. It's an awesome spot downtown right by Campus Martius. They have tons of free things and family activities for you to do, and they also got some other activities that adults can be a part of, like a nice bar down there that I like to attend as well. Deckedoutdetroit.com. Shop, eat, and play at the Monroe Street Midway. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on woodwardsports.com. It's just been a fun morning here. We popped champagne. We're drinking some coffee. We're talking about Ben Johnson. We got people calling in, giving me goosebumps with hype-up speeches. We got people calling in from Texas, from Florida, from Carolina, from up north, from Detroit. Like, today's show is really showing the vast reach of woodwardsports.com and just how many Lions fans are out there in the universe.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great to see.
Abused Lions fans, but now we're coming out of the woodwork. No. And that's what I'm excited about. Like, all the people who are kind of like, I'm a Lions fan, but I got to tuck my hat away, or I'm not going to wear the shirt in public because I'm going to catch some. Now, everybody's going to start coming out of the woodwork. You can call them bandwagon fans all you want. I don't care. Right. All the fans are welcome.
No,
it's our time, baby.
It's amazing. I got some buddies of mine, and we all love the NFL, and we all have different teams, right? All my friends are from different states, and it's funny because you have an Eagles fan, a Giants fan, a 49ers fan, and there's me, the Lions fan, and now I'm like, hey, Ben Johnson, and now they're knowing, and it feels like everybody, I know we say this a lot, and everyone feels like the Lions are their second team, they're rooting for the Lions. I want everybody to hate us so bad. Yep. I want to get to that point, not in a bad way, but to where they're like, damn.
I want it to be a bad way. I want people to be sick of losing to the Lions, sick of hearing about the Lions.
That team.
Like I want, like I said yesterday, I want us to like be the Patriots, right? And of course, that's everybody aspires to have that many championships in a stretch. But I want people to just despise playing like these guys. How come we can't beat them? Why is Jared Goff so good? Like I want those conversations. We've never had that.
Yeah, this coach is biting kneecaps. Right. He outcoached my coach.
Dan Campbell's such a clown. He jokes around. How is this guy a good coach? Like, I want that frustration out of other fans. Yeah. I want Bears fans to cry twice a year.
Speaking of that, I got a buddy who's a Bears fan. He's down in the dumps right now. It's funny. Even 2 years ago when they were winning with Mitch Trubisky, he's over here, we're making the playoffs. Now he's quiet. Yep. And now Lions fans are all loud, and it's funny. No matter where Lions fans live in the United States, if you look up at the sky, it's the same sky color. It's Honolulu blue.
Honolulu blue, and I think the clouds are forming a lion. That's bizarre.
This is
Ben Johnson.
It's an out-of-world experience. It's Honolulu blue somewhere.
Well, let's talk to, what is it, Edric? Edric is in Houston, and he's excited about the Lions and Ben Johnson. What's going on in Texas today?
H-Town.
Hey, it was H-Town, definitely, man. I'm out here in Houston, Texas. It's 72 degrees. There's no sun out, but the sky is blue this morning, and so I'm pretty pumped up about that.
Yes, sir.
So where were you when you found out about Ben Johnson?
Man, it was actually last night. I was getting ready to lay down and go to bed, and I said, well, let me catch up with Woodward heavyweight with the heavyweights because I didn't get the chance to see them, and they were talking about it. And I said, well, get out of here, man. Shut the front door. Which, here's the thing. I never felt like he was going to leave. I know everybody was nervous and scared and afraid, but when I saw, when you look at how they finished, and when you listen to Ben Johnson speak, during post games, during pressers, the whole nine, he seemed like a guy committed, and when you go 1-6 and then you win 8 out of your last, was it 8 out of the last 10? Was that what it was?
Correct.
When you do that, you kind of, just as a man, you kind of say, man, we just started something here, and I want to finish. And so I always felt like, he felt like, hey, we just started something here, and they really feel like they've got a good track to really making something happen next year. So I wasn't never really afraid, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to say afraid, but I was cautious, right? And I think that's the whole Lions thing. Like, when you have something good, Lions fans, usually it goes away. You had Barry Sanders, and he just disappeared. You had Calvin Johnson. He just disappears. And that, my PTSD Lions fandom always keeps me in check from, being I'm confident.
I noticed that this year watching games, I'm one of those like resilient Lion fans. Like, hey, if I'm rooting, I'm rooting. And this year, I'll be honest with you, man, it's been completely different. I've been completely endeared, if that's a word I can use, to the team this year, to where the first weekend that they didn't play, after that Green Bay game, I mean, I was like heartbroken. It was like, well, what am I going to do today? Because it's other football games,
right?
But I'm like, I want to watch the Lions play. I think that what they did this year is they really connected, with the fans. I think even the fans, fair weather fans that were just been down in the dumps, I think it just really, the statement they made this year just really made such a heart connection this year, and so it's got me so, man, I cannot wait. I hate the off season. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. But I cannot wait till the regular season starts up. Now I got to watch some XFL and USFL to try to buy some time, and it's just not the same. Yeah, I'm excited that they've got that. It's just excited for opportunity, but it's not the same.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm going to crave football. Thank you so much for the call from Texas. But yeah, I'm going to go back and watch Hard Knocks again this offseason. Like, I'm just whatever I can do to bathe in that Honolulu blue KoolAid right now. I'm all about that life. And in the WoodwardSports.com chat, I was asked, I believe it was Mike G that asked, where am I taking Sheila Hamp on our first date? With a girl like Sheila, you got to understand, she can buy her own things. You got to offer her experiences. You can't just take her out to a nice dinner. Like, you got to do something special for a lovely lady like Sheila Hamp. And Sheila, if you're watching right now, I would love to take you out. I would love to take you up maybe in a helicopter ride overlooking Detroit so we can point out Allen Park where you're building something great. Then we can point out Ford Field where there's going to be a playoff game soon. Then we can look at Woodward Avenue where the parade's going to be. And we can pick out a spot where we can be together to watch Dan Campbell hold up the Lombardi Trophy going down Woodward. That's the date I want to take you on, Sheila. Will you do that for me? Will you deliver that for us?
Sounds romantic.
It would be beautiful. I'll provide the champagne, Sheila. I'll provide the champagne. But my goodness, that would be a fun date. And, Sheila, I like women in power. That's kind of a kink of mine, so I'm all good with that. Let's see. We got one more caller we got to get to, but first we got to get to a break and tell you about Planet Fitness, where it's just $10 a month. That's it. $10 a month. You can get your membership, or you can upgrade to that black card where you can get the massages, you can get the classes, you can go tanning, you can do whatever you want at Planet Fitness when you got the black card. It's pretty much the VIP card to just walk around and be like, yeah, I kind of own this place now. Black cards at Planet Fitness, because your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Butchery!
I love the WoodwardSports.com chat. Sheila would take stick to an Eyes Wide Shut party.
Jesus.
Wouldn't be my first. Let's go. Talking about meat right here. Meats, Eats, and Treat at the Butchery in Sylvan Lake. Go to thebutcherysl.com and see all the great food inspired by the legendary Chef Dave. Stop by and get some of them Wagyu steaks. Cook them up. Celebrate Ben Johnson being back for the Detroit Lions. Call 248-682-COWS. That's 248-682-MOO Cows. All right, welcome back to WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam this morning. Cruz has been on hold for a while. By the way, that is Jeff Iafrate. Fish is here today, Alex Westfall. Our own KoolAid, our Detroit Pistons beat reporter, is in the building. We're going to talk to him in a little bit. Matt Broder still here, sitting idly by. We had a couple other things that we were going to talk about today, but
Just scrap it.
It's Ben Johnson Day, man.
Absolutely.
Actually, can we call somebody and make this an official holiday? It's Ben Johnson Day.
Can you think of this, Steak? And you've been in this business for a while. Using an hour and 44 minutes on a coordinator, is that possible? And actually, it's great content. We've never really ran out of things to say about him. That's a first for me.
I think it's a first in Detroit radio. I'm sure the other guys have spent 2 hours on somebody, but it was probably just bashing them.
Yeah,
they ain't celebrating. We know that.
Right.
But my goodness, Cruz, you've been on hold a while, calling from Midland. How you feeling this morning, Cruz? And is it Honolulu blue skies where you're at?
Oh yeah. Hey guys, good morning.
Good morning.
I tell you what, I was to work last night and I get those ESPN flashes and I see the first word I see is Ben Johnson. My heart stopped and I'm like, keep reading. It's like, stay with Lions. I jumped right there in the office and it was awesome, So glad he's back. It's exciting. You always say as a Lions fan, next year, but this year does feel different, and exciting and it's awesome.
Yeah, it is a great feeling. And I'm like you. I think when I saw the Ben Johnson headline, my heart dropped a little, like, oh boy, do I want to read this? But then it's like, he's back, and you're just like,
yeah, for sure. And I went to talking about Ford Field being advantage now. I went to that Packers game at Lions Ford Field, and I told you it was loud. It was loud in there. I lost my voice that whole week after that game, and it was awesome. Seeing the fans in there, it feels like brand new Lions for sure.
Yeah, you know who I'm happy for today too? Uperman and Crackman.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys. And Dan Miller. Let's give a shout out to Dan Miller, too. Like, the guys who have been through the ringer. And like you're saying, now you're going to games screaming your head off. Those guys that have been doing it for so long to be able to celebrate today, like, those are the guys you want to think of, too.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for your call, Cruz. We appreciate you calling from Midland. And, man, it's been a fun morning.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really been a fun morning here. Jeff, we're going to be talking about Ben Johnson for a while now, but to come on today, have this opportunity to discuss another positive thing for the Lions. What does it mean for you?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I haven't been alive as long as other people, but still, in my lifetime.
What is that supposed to mean?
Because that's the first thing. Well, you don't know. It's always like, I love how Lions fans, it's always a comparison of who's been through more crap. Like, it's like, I've never seen success, in my lifetime, and people say, well, I haven't seen success in my lifetime. Like, my father has never seen it, besides a playoff win in '91. But still, the fact of the matter is, this is different, right? You're seeing players talk about the organization in a positive manner, coaches. There's so many things that kind of check those boxes for, really the tide turning for the Lions, that it's positive. And it's great to be in the Detroit market talking about the Detroit Lions, and it's nothing but positivity. We don't have to sit up here and crap on the coaching staff, crap on players. There's nothing to really talk bad about. There's only positivity moving forward, and man, it makes for a lot better radio and content in general. It really is.
Yeah, having stuff, like you said, positive things to talk about, and this has been a building thing too. And I don't feel like this is the last of the good news that's going to happen for the Lions now. Like, I feel like this is a major turning point, though.
Yes.
Because if you lose Ben Johnson, it does send a different message, right? It sends, okay, now next year we're going to try to figure out the offensive coordinator position. We're going to try to figure out our identity again on offense, and what we had last year isn't going to come back this year. But now it's like, okay, I'm looking at this team, and we mentioned the word stability earlier, and now you're seeing stability. And stability provides comfort. It provides people with a want to be there, and knowing that I'm not going to a place that's in constant turmoil. Why do you think the Patriots are so good? Why do you think the Steelers are so good? Because they stay the course with their coach. Even when Tomlin looked like he was going to have a bad year this year, what did he do? He ended up turning it around.
Yes.
They haven't had a losing record in like 70 years. But the stability is so important, and the Lions have never had that at really With Stafford, you had a little bit at the quarterback position, but outside of that, it's always just been an ever-changing coaching carousel, coordinator carousel. Now you know what you're getting.
Yeah, and when you get a taste of success, I mean, you could bring up the Bengals, for example. Now with Zach Taylor, the expectation every season is 10-plus games, deep playoff run, possible Super Bowl appearance. Like, that's how coaches raise their expectations. Like even Mike Tomlin, to your point, never had a losing season until recently. But for the most part, he's never really lost games. That's the expectations. Now fans every single year, even if you start out and you struggle early on or late in the season, fans know. Listen, this is our track record. This is what we expect.
Stay the course.
Coaches, yes, stay the course. And now they have proofs in the pudding. You're 9-8 last season. Let's improve on that. And you can always fall back. It'd be tough if you won 3 games and followed up with 4 games and you're trying to instill a winning culture. You just did it last year. You had a winning record. Build on that. I think the Lions will do that with Dan Campbell.
Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll touch on a few mailbags, but we got 2 big topics that we want to talk about that aren't Lions related. Michigan, there's an investigation going on where computers are being searched and houses being raided. That's something we got to touch on. And Detroit KoolAid is here to talk about the Pistons being in Paris. We kind of had to crunch down those segments, but you know what? It's Ben Johnson Day here in Detroit, so I think everybody understands. But tell them about SMA, Jeff.
Let me tell you about them, guys. A sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Last night, before the Ben Johnson news was announced, I was dealing with a little bit of mental health issues myself, but SMA got it right for me because they can help you out as well. They have a new podcast coming out. This is the S Word. It helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Let me tell you about the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full par. Check it out. Celebrate Ben Johnson returning to the Lions. FullingWarehouse.com.
Bet you Ben Johnson could draw up a great Fulling play.
Oh, he's a walk-on quarterback.
For you to hit that bunk pin.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Welcome back to WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam today. Jeff Iafrate is here. Fish, Alex Westfall. We are joined by Detroit KoolAid to talk a little bit about the Pistons. They are in Europe right now. Killian Hayes' home country.
Paris.
But there's been one problem, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell them what the problem's been?
So, give me the details. So, I read the reports. Jalen Duren, he's been out the last couple, games already dealing with a sore ankle, I believe what it was. And then they go to Paris, and he's not with them. So, break it down for me. I know he's 19, and the part of growing up, you got to be responsible. How in the hell do you forget your Brandon, break it down for me. How the hell do you forget your passport?
I'm just happy it wasn't Russia.
Going to true that.
That's all, man.
But how did it happen? Why did he forget his passport?
First and foremost, somebody hold on to this man's passport so he can get back home. All right, because I did just see the news. His teammates did welcome him to Paris.
So we got there.
So he did get there. We will start with that. So, but somebody hold on to that thing, man. Hold on to that thing. But I don't know. I was on the Woodward Pistons podcast with Rod Beard and Mike Curtis of the Detroit News. That show is also supposed to be hosted by Jeff Iafrate, but bigger and better things. But you know what they like in this too?
Shots fired.
You know what they like in this too? I think Jeff will know exactly what Rod Beard said.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
He said that what Jalen Duren did is kin to what Jeff Iafrate did this summer, man. Listen, see, listen. How many times, man, were we supposed to do this show? And it was just the 19-year-old in Jeff that caused this thing to be a little bit more delayed. And look, it was the same thing with Jalen Duren. He likened it to just youthful, exuberance. They won't give the details on exactly what went down. Mike Curtis said he tried to get the details, but with Jalen Duren, it was just a timing thing. They're glad to have him over there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping that it makes a difference because the Pistons, if he plays, they're rebounding cratered. They're rebounding cratered, man. They dropped 8 rebounds per game since Jalen Duren has been out.
Yeah.
And they've gotten punked in the middle as well. I know the Knicks, they put up 82 points.
They've been hurting at that big man position all season long. That's just the fact of the matter. Bagley hasn't really played much. Duren, when he has played, is awesome. And he's getting better, but they just don't have enough pieces in that big spot.
Yeah, it's still an incomplete team, but you're absolutely right, man. I mean, Jalen Duren's Noel. Like him a lot, good defensively, but he's not the rebounding specimen like a Jalen Duren. I mean, you put Jalen Duren in the lineup, you give him 20 minutes, he gets you a double-double.
It's everything else that he does. It's the athleticism, it's the speed, it's how fast he can get from one end of the court to the other while playing defense. He's not sacrificing his defense on one end to get down to the other end of the court to get a lob or anything of that nature. And on offense, I see him putting in the work. He's getting better. One of my critiques on Jalen Duren early in the season was, can he use his body? Does he know that he's the biggest guy on the court? Does he know he's the most athletic? And now we're kind of seeing him step into that light. And somebody else, just from a confidence standpoint, who seems to be stepping into it as well, is Killian Hayes, man.
And by the way, tomorrow they play the Bulls. You got Killian Hayes. He's been playing well over the last stretch of games. I mean, now we're kind of forgetting the part of the season in the beginning where he struggled. Like this is becoming the normal Killian Hayes. What do you expect out of him in their home return to Paris?
I expect him to mash. Like I listen, talking to Killian Hayes in press conferences and such. The answers he gives are so just one-liners. But seeing him speak to the media, since he's been in France, talking about, you know what, man, my grandmother has never seen me play as a Piston. I feel like he's going to come out. I saw people retweeting the video of him shooting yesterday, and he was just looking absolutely confident. Fans are saying he's about to drop 50. I don't know if he's going to drop 50, but I'm hoping he goes out there and plays like he's trying to. I hope he goes out there and realizes it's his time. At this stage in the season, it's about narratives. You know, it's about the individual storylines and the development of the players. And for this game, this needs to be Killian's game. Absolutely own it, own it, own it. And I want to see him go out there and continue to do what he's been doing over the last 10 games, 14 points a game, 7.4 assists, 3 rebounds per game, and shooting, 40% from 3 on 5 attempts.
It's incredible.
It's the normal.
And I got to ask you before, because you want to break down some of this Michigan stuff, or you want to continue with Pistons?
No, we definitely want to get KoolAid in here, but there was some breaking news yesterday on Michigan, and we got to talk about it. I mean, unfortunately, we got to cover the good and the bad.
Yes. Before you go, I want your thoughts. Chances Victor is in the crowd on Thursday. Wemby in Paris.
He should be there, man. He should be there, right? You got to look at his future team.
Yeah.
He has to. You know, French Detroit, Detroit, Killian Hayes is already there. You know, we did a favor to say Kudumboya. You know what I'm saying? Look, we've been doing the favors all along trying to set the stage for the Victor show. We got to get him to Detroit any way possible.
You'll notice him in the crowd with his big ass, like 7'5". You'll see him.
Definitely.
Did you see him flexing with his shirt off? Dude, he's skinny as hell, though. Skinny as hell. Like skinnier than fish.
Yeah. But
Bro, he'll put on weight. Like, remember when Giannis got drafted? He looked like a 12-year-old. So he'll be better.
It happens.
Well, Detroit KoolAid, thank you so much for being on. Make sure you guys are following Woodward Pistons. Make sure you're listening to those podcasts. They put them up, a bunch of them weekly.
Yeah,
and it's great content. If you love Pistons, you love Woodward's Pistons.
All social media, check it out.
Yep, all social media, and then. Not to make you the Grim Reaper or anything, Matt Broder. Welcome, Matt Broder, one of our new writers to WoodwardSports.com. Went to University of Michigan, pitched for the Michigan baseball team, and bats cleanup on the Space Dogs, my softball team.
How do you not?
That's how I met Matt. Matt, not a great look for Michigan right now. A lot of questions up in the air. There's no definitive anything right now, but what's happening at University of Michigan?
Yeah, from one offensive coordinator to another.
Oh, God, what a transition.
Right? So, reports out of the University of Michigan are that there's a criminal investigation into co-offensive coordinator Matt Weiss. And the alleged crime is for computer access crimes. That's what they call it. And this occurred sometime at Schembechler Hall. So there's not a lot of details into the specifics of this crime. It could be anything from identity theft to phishing, hacking. You could even get a little grimmer. You're talking about, child pornography, certain terrorist acts. We don't want to put that on Matt Weiss yet.
No, but that's just a list of what falls under those types of crimes, right?
Correct. There's just not a lot of evidence yet that the police has come out with. But the timeline is very interesting, and I think that's something to watch over the next couple days. There were alleged crimes December 21st to 23rd, so that's before their matchup with TCU, excuse me. So how much did Michigan know? But there wasn't an official report until January 5th. So again, we're early to the story, but I have a feeling we're going to be learning in the next couple days some serious allegations coming out of Ann Arbor.
And that's why I wanted to touch on it, even though this is Ben Johnson Day here in Detroit. Like, we are, a sports news organization, and you got to acknowledge that was a big news story that came out last night.
And can I bring up this? This is reported. Josh Henske, who is a publisher of Michigan Rivals on Rivals.com, and he's on 247 Sports. He put this out there, and I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you saw this, Matt, but I want your thoughts on it. He put a screenshot out, and it was because he was able to check through the records of public safety and security of the University of Michigan, and he found a report at 12:44 p.m. January 5th. And it says fraudulent activity, and it's listed, an employee reported fraudulent activity involving someone accessing university email accounts without authorization. Upon further investigation, it was found that a crime may have been committed. They didn't go into what that crime was, but I thought the key word in there was accessing university email accounts without authorization. That's got to say something more, and it's not going to be specific.
It's one thing to break into university emails. That doesn't lead to the police raiding your home, right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
Now, the extent of the crime, I'm not familiar with, but man, it's not a good look. It
Joey,
really
2 times. He was on LimeWire.
Oh.
You guys do you even know what
Yes,
LimeWire
I
is?
do.
Okay.
One of the most clutchest things ever.
Before Napster was LimeWire. Yeah.
That is an option. One of the less common cyber crimes is software piracy, cyberbullying, it's a whole list of things, so we don't know yet, but there's a lot of negativity coming out of Ann Arbor these days.
Yeah. It is. It really is. I'm curious now with Jim Harbaugh dealing with the NCAA investigation. Now you have Matt Weiss dealing with this. We just got to move past this. We got to get through this, and then Michigan, I think, will be just fine, but not a good look.
Will you put a camera? What were you just doing,
Fish is giving us the signal.
What were you just doing?
That's time up.
What does that mean?
Time to go. It's
Where
time.
do you got to
It's time
be
on the
this
clock.
morning? Where do you got to be on Ben Johnson Day?
Celebrating Ben Johnson Day, like
Where at? What
every
are you
other
doing?
Detroit Lions fan.
Why do you want to get out of here so fast?
He's got a date.
You got a date? You got a date with Sheila? You better not be dating my boo. You know Sheila belongs to me. We're going to go on that helicopter ride, Sheila. Well, Matt, thank you for coming in, covering that story. Let's keep a close eye on it so we can give accurate information when we learn it. As of right now, you don't know what the charge is. You just know some suspicious activity at Schembechler Hall led to a raid of a home. So take with that what you will. I'm not going to hypothesize or try to project anything because I don't know, but we will learn as this goes. But it's definitely a story that we got to keep our eye on. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Ben Johnson celebration show here on the Morning Woodward Show. Yes, me and Sheila are going to go out. She just has to return my DMs. Can you imagine sliding into Sheila Hamp's DMs? Like, what do you say to that girl?
I think you're the only man I'd have confidence in to slide in her DMs, and it'll work out for you.
Hey, she's done a lot for me so far, and I want to repay her with, everything. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Dan Campbell. Thank you, Ben Johnson, and thank you, WoodwardSports.com chat for being a part of the show, and thank you to everybody who called in. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. Jeff, pleasure doing a show with you as always, buddy.
Appreciate you, Stick.
Have a good one. Fish, shut up.
Thank you, I will. Go watch all the great sports on Wednesday. Let's go, Breakers! You want me to talk more? I mean, I can if you want.